What is up, Lost Relics fans? Today I'm going to do a review of the epic virtual relic item called Eggdemon. As you all know, this was introduced in the Easter event not too long ago, and I will go over some of the pros and cons of the Eggdemon. So why don't we start with the cons? The first con that comes to mind is that it is a virtual item, so therefore if you die, you will lose this item for good. So you need to stay alive in your adventures. Another downside to Eggdemon is that you can only use him 2 times per adventure. It would have been nicer if that number was either 3 or 4 times. This brings us to the next point, which is Eggdemon's cost. As you can see, right now Eggdemon costs roughly 25,000 gold. And some people may argue that it is too expensive for a virtual item that you can only use twice per adventure, and even worse, could lose it completely on any given adventure. Speaking of adventures, another con of the Eggdemon is that it doesn't follow you around. For me, this is the biggest downside to Eggdemon. You basically drop him and he will fight the enemies in the immediate area, but will not follow you to the next area. You have to aggro the monsters and bring them back closer to Eggdemon before he attacks them. It would have been much cooler if he just followed you around. And the last negative thing about Eggdemon is that he takes friendly fire, which surprised me the first time it happened. So you really need to be careful about your Eggdemon placement and where you position yourself when shooting bows. It's safe to say that you don't want to drop your Eggdemon in a narrow pathway, or chances are you will hit him by accident. Alright, enough talking about the negative stuff. Let's talk about some of the pros. Well, the first pro that comes to mind is that you have a tank with 1500 HP. So you can drop him in an area full of enemies and let him do his thing while you pick off enemies one by one without too much worry. It's especially useful for newer players that don't necessarily know what to expect in some of the adventures, and this will help them stay alive longer. And continuing along the same lines, another pro is that Eggdemon acts as a great tank for the Warden. You can basically drop him right at the Warden and the Warden will be preoccupied fighting him while you easily get in your free shots. You won't need to run around kiting the Warden, which saves some time, and you don't need to worry about your health too much. The third important pro of Eggdemon is that he can act as a panic button. Should you find yourself in a tight spot, just throw out Eggdemon and he will help you by drawing all the attention to him. This in turn will help you survive a situation that could otherwise be disastrous. The last positive thing is that Eggdemon lets you be a little more reckless in adventures because the enemies will be drawn to him. In return, this makes your adventure runs a little faster, which is always a good thing because you want to be as efficient as possible. So, this brings us to the ultimate question. Should you buy the Eggdemon relic? Despite some of the flaws that I mentioned earlier, the pros outweigh the cons in my opinion. Eggdemon gives you a little more flexibility during your adventures. It's nice to have an option you can drop in a room full of enemies and not worry about getting overwhelmed. Also, it feels good to know you have a panic button in your back pocket and Eggdemon can rescue you in a pinch so you don't die and lose all your virtual items. If you have the gold for it, go pick him up in the Emporium and let me know down below in the comments section how useful you have found him so far. Until next time, Mr. K-Star out.